Now I'm a bit of a loss here because the first thing I normally throw out is the instructions, and they didn't give me any. So how do I not know what I'm not doing? So now I've got to figure all this out of what common sense might be. There's no diagrams, there's no paperwork, there's nothing to show what it's going to look like at the end or halfway through. But I can tell you what will happen. Okay, a couple of things I'm discovering as I'm assembling it. Make sure that you've got it all right. I think I've got this going the right way so that when this little baby wants to stop here, oh look, I'm going to assume that that's the way it wants to be. I don't think it needs to hang off the edge a great deal, because that, you know, I don't think. Anyway, I'm pretty sure there's spaces that hold that up. Beautiful tabletop that's been out in the weather for 2 years is not level, so I'm not going to use that as my leveling gauge, I guess. What will make it easier is if I put these feet on upside down, it might squeeze up these gaps a little bit nicer. This horizontal will be a bit nicer, and we'll see how square it is at the end. I mean, at the end of this build, it's going to be on a steel table, so these legs probably will... Oh, you know what? I might end up using them and use those holes there to bolt onto the tabletop, because I need blow through for the plasma torch to slag off. So I'm going to tighten all these up, and I'll show you on the next one. That coffee is just for reference of how long this takes. And the very last one, tighten up this little short one, just to pull it all tight. Then I can go ahead and loosen those and square it all up. The ball means I can put it at an angle. I don't have to lift it up.
Check it. Check it. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out.
Right, after getting it all the way assembled to mostly this point, I was struggling to figure out which holes all these bits line up into, how many wheels on each side, and guides, and which way it goes upside down, or... So I went back to the original sales description, and I got most of it is just from pictures, and then it says the instructions are on this USB along with the software. I thought it was just the software to drive the computer here, which I'll probably be using Lightburn. That's a much better. Anyway, I'm going to get that out, open the instructions, and I might be able to do this quicker.
Check it out. Check it out. Check it out.
No, I didn't create it, I put it assembled. It just took too long to assemble. I finally worked out how to do it. And I think this video is going to stop, but let's quickly do some things. Right, so it's pretty big. Let me zoom out. As that's doing its thing, making heaps of smoke. I've had dramas after dramas. This wasn't easy to put together. I mean, it seems simple. You just put screws in holes and yeah, it wasn't quite enough hardware. I've got just this cabling run alone was a nightmare. It wouldn't work, then I got it together and it still didn't work, and it was going to drag on the piece, so I've modified it slightly so it sticks up like that. Otherwise it was going to drag all over the workpiece and probably get caught and fuck up. A bit like this side piece. This cable tray runs along the deck. It doesn't hold itself up. I mean, it's probably never going to. It's supposed to, but it just doesn't. That one's not too bad because it just goes back and forth. It can lay there. When I build a table for it, I'll actually put something along here just to hold it. A couple little tabs. It'll be fine. I haven't mounted this because when I put my plasma cutter onto it, the high frequency startup pilot will mess with these electronics if it's mounted to the side here. So I'm going to keep that separate. When I build the table, that's going to go tucked away in its own little protected spot. All these wires down underneath there somewhere. Then there'll be my laptop holder way off to one side here, probably completely out of the way. But yeah, proof of concept so far, I guess. Out of the box it works. So I'll do some more talking while I've accidentally videoed that. You can see here I've got my output for the laser. Now when this decides it needs to cut, I can set it to just 100% on off. There's no gradient, so that means we'll activate that 12 volt. Come on, focus there. There's a pulse width modulator, ground, and the 12 volt. Now the pulse width modulator, I believe, is the fan. There's a fan that cools it, so that's always going to be running, and I want the 12 volt pin out of that and the ground. Now when that loops up, I'm going to, if I can get a plug that suits that exactly, be way better. Then I will just run that all the way over. It's not going to be this far away when I built it. Into this port. Onto that pin there, which means I'll probably splice into this because I don't have a second pin. So what I'll do is I'll probably end up cutting this and putting a plug on here. Then I can match that and this end, and then also a plug on the other one, so I can swap between the button on the torch, so I can use it manually, and the CNC software operated switch. The rest of this will stay the same. Earth clamp will clamp to the workpiece. Torch, I will have to make a clamp to hold it where the laser's now sitting. So it's got the little wedge, don't look down the laser, down there. So I don't know what you call that. Dovetail. Come on. It's really simple, it just slides in, fuck ya. There you go, see? And that's attached, and then I can slide up and down and then tighten it with this knob at the where it needs to stay. So I'm going to use that same plate, those same mounting holes, so that this torch, have I got it right? Yep, will live somewhere about there, I reckon. The torch comes with these height guide, so you never touch the tip on your workpiece, but it stays the same height. There, shit. So go, but that's the size that I need to clamp onto the torch. Now if I can clamp that onto that other piece, it'll be perfect. But what I'm going to do is, I've got a piece of pipe, roughly that size. It's a little bit small on the inside, but that's good, so I'll cut that. I'm thinking 30mm. Chuck it on the lathe, open it up. To fit that, then I can keep that little recess. Come on, see the recess in there? I can do a similar thing in that pipe. And weld it to this bit of plate that I'm going to cut, and the 4 holes will go in there with threads, and that will then bolt to the mount.
Check it out. 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 Check it out.
Whatever. And I forgot to record it. Well, wouldn't that just root your boot? So this is all going to work. Got all these different programs. I was using this last night. Ah, fuck's sakes, really? Now I've got to go spend some money. Anyway, let's just try this free one for a minute. Ooh, there we go, it touches there. What I'd really love is to have limit switches. So if I twisted that torch, there you go, hit there. Anyway, while this is trying to make this file the size of that table so I can test it. The board that comes with this has got the opportunity to expand. You can't see, it's too shiny. I can put limit switches, expand into limit switches. I think there's a plug down the end for an engraver. I'd like to expand and get some limit switches into here, because when this hits the end and I'm not ready for it, whoa, this thing kills itself. Right, I think I'm ready to go. The idea now, this cable's going to always stay plugged in. I'm going to slice and splice that into there. I probably should have got a female version. I buggered it up at the shop. I've got 2 females and 1 male. Anyway, so that one's going to be permanently wired to that section. Now the bit that I cut, I'll add that. And then the one that runs from this board will go into there. Don't know whether to use speaker wire or this heavy duty. That looks ridiculous. I'll just go speaker wire. And that will run the signal to there. Through, I think I'm going to go with this one. Alright, let's cause some carnage. Just so by dumb luck happened that in my Arduino toolkit I've got a plug that fits exactly my thing down here. Not the same colouring, but who cares? Colours. Snip. This little thing on the back says normally closed and on. What is that? Normally open and that one and that one. That checks out. Nothing. Nothing. Oh shit, so that's probably normally open. Images. Nothing. That clicked it. So that says to me that's the click that I wanted to hear. So that should be now nothing. Can we see? Open circuit. Closed circuit. Yes. So I've got to have all those 3 plugged in. And then if I press stop, that stopped. And stopped. Yes. Right. I'm a bit scared because I don't really have this set up to do a proper test. All I can do is burn a hole in this table. Probably should have a fire extinguisher. Right, so I've got my air hooked up, I've got my signal hooked up to this relay. That's plugged into my what's supposed to turn the laser on. The computer is probably in some sort of freeze mode, and that's going to blast out hot shit and burn a hole in my table. Let's pause. Alright, unpause. I've lifted it up off the deck, so there will be fire, but it won't be so close. I guess I just resume. It works! It works! Now that's running purely off the pilot arc at the moment, obviously, because I've got no bit of metal. But that was actually cutting slowly like it thought it should be doing. Fuck yeah. Oh yes, I still gotta do this. Take 59 on drawing a circle, that's 50 millimeters roughly.